or yeah, 30, 40 years back, what I was trying to say that like 40 years back also people were doing business, but the data volume was not that high. Even like there were people who were doing a bigger business at that point of time. So they were having some like initially we started like using books and bookkeeping, right? Like we used to maintain all these records, all the transactional data via account mechanism on the books and all. But with the growing size of the business, right, it was not possible to like do that business using that approach. If you have to like at the end of the year or maybe every quarter, you need to come up with a report that how many sales you made, right? If you are maintaining this information on your paper, right? So that's not possible to like, and it's a very hectic work. So we got like a mainframe as a system in during 1970 and all, and then finally we got like RDBMS at that point of time, and then we started building like basic tables, columns, and all, right, where we can store this data and at least query the data. So at that time also we were not having fancy dashboards, reports, and all, but we have got a medium to like store this data so that we can start reporting this like how we are doing, right? How business is performing and all, right? Otherwise, if you are just maintaining all this information over books and all, it was really difficult. Now we after that, like during 1990, the internet era started, and then the boom actually started that point of time, and then we started thinking about like so RDBMS was there. Now we started thinking about using data warehouse, data marts. Ralph Kimball, Bill Inman, they have come up with the multiple approaches, top down, bottom up. They started like we can build data warehouse to do some history data analysis and like understand like what is the problem with the business or how our business is performing. So there also, right, like we have got, means again the data volume was not that huge, but we started getting like a DB2, Oracle, and then we have in the market, right? Then we got like multiple databases which are even more stronger, like Teradata. We talk about Teradata during 2000 and all, right? So we got Teradata, and then few others, like we started talking about big data, Hadoop ecosystem and all, right? So with the growing size of the growing volume of data each and every organization, we have a need, right? Like that, how we can store this data and how we can query this data. So that was the requirement. And technology trends, as you know, right, it's changing very rapidly. And earlier also it used to change, but at that time it was not that rapidly. But in the current world, you forget about like every 3 months you are getting totally new concepts and all, right? With AI and all. So big data, and then we started getting clouds. We like all the infrastructure now shifting to cloud and hyperscaler, different hyperscaler like Microsoft Azure, Microsoft AWS, and then like the GCP. So all these hyperscaler coming, and then all the infrastructure basically we are trying to move on the hyperscaler. But it's still the challenges remain, right? Like how, because the data sources are changing, varieties of data, volume of data, and we need a different way to process the data, because like every day if you want to capture all your transactional data into your data mart or data platform, then you need a mechanism. I'll give you an example, right? Let's talk about uh I forgot the name. I was part of like San Jose, California, and I was working there. And somehow I'm able to forget. Like it's a it's a finance company that like that is based out of San Jose. I was working as an employee there like during 2016 to 2019. So we used to receive around 100 million transactions on regular basis across the world. Now, if you are doing this kind of 100 millions of transactions, you should have a mechanism to process this data, store this data, 100 millions regular daily basis. If you don't have a mechanism to even process and store this data, then what is the point of doing that kind of business? Because there are multiple regulatory requirements in the current world, right? Every reserve bank, like maybe central bank in each and every country, right? They are looking for a weekly, quarterly, monthly report from anyone doing financial transactions. or anyone is dealing with the public money. If you can't report or you can't process the data, then you are not allowed to do business, right? So you need to think about like how you are going to do that. Now coming to the data platform, right? Like in the current world, every organization is maintaining data platform. So what is the data platform architecture is going to be current in the current world? We are going to consume data from various places, or maybe sometimes we as an organization is generating our own data, and in some cases we are pulling some of this data, third party data for our business. Like I'll give you an example of real estate customers, right? So in US, like the real estate, if you want to do a real estate, you want to become a real estate broker, right? It's not like you just start your business. You need to get certified, you need to get license and all those things. Once you have that, then you are going to get all the listing information. Like if you go to if you go to housing.com here, right? So we see a lot of listings there, like location wise, city wise, state wise, right? So in US also they have, every state has got maintaining their data in one of the database called MLS. They are calling it MLS, right? So every state has got 3 or 4 MLS, and that data is publicly available. Until if you have a license, right, a broker license, then you can consume this data and you can start helping in buying and selling property. And then like whoever is uploading that listing, maybe one broker is uploading that listing, the other brokers can buy and sell property with like a sharing of commissions like among themselves. So there is a predefined agreement how this revenue distribution will happen. Now, so you have varieties of data where variety of sources from here you are bringing data. Then this data comes to your OLTP system. From OLTP system, you are bringing this data back to your data lake. And from data lake, you are moving this data. Maybe like in the data lake side, you have a raw data, and then you are building a data product out of that using medallion architecture, right? Bronze, silver, and gold. Some of you are not able to like maybe ingest this part, what I'm explaining, but I'll cover that in very detail maybe later. So medallion architecture, like where you are maintaining all your data for reporting purpose, and then you are using some reporting tools like Power BI, Cognos, and all to report this data. Now, during this process, what are the 3 major things you are doing? You doing data acquisition from various places. You are doing data processing, applying all the business logic, and then you are storing this data. And at the end, you need to retire this data. So these are the 4 steps like we are doing like as part of any data platform which you are building as part of any organization, right? So these are the 4: data acquisition, data processing, data storage, and means you need to retire your data after a certain period of time based on regulatory need. Now, this volume of data in the current world, right? You need to have some guardrail. It's not like, and you need to, means again, while the purpose of this building data platform is that like you can provide a single view of the business to your senior leadership, CXO folks, as well as all the business users, right? Now, there are multiple things, right? So data quality is one important problem, right? Let's say if you are doing all of these things, but like your data is not in a very good quality and safe. So what is the point of like such reporting? Like the data quality itself is not that good, right? If you give garbage input to any system, maybe and you build some LLM like for some generating a dashboard or report, but if your input itself is a very garbage value, right? Like so, it is going to generate the garbage result. Even talk about, let's say you have built a model that is going to predict the how your sales is going to be in the next 2 years, right? And based on the past 10 years of data, but your 10 years data, maybe there are some duplicates, there are a lot of irregularity as part of your data. So the result that you're going to get as part of your LLM models, right? That is also not going to be accurate. And whatever business decision you are taking to achieve that result, that will also not be accurate because like whatever steps you are going to take based on that decision, maybe that will also not work. So when it comes to data, so during all this activity, as we discussed, there are 4 steps, 4 main activity we are going to perform as part of any organizations to maintain a data platform or data landscape, right? Now, So there are some regulatory need. We need to retire this data at the end of the day. Let's say if you are receiving buy and sales information, right? For a retail customer, for maybe a real estate customer, then you need to retire this data after 7 years. You cannot just hold that data in your organizations. If it is older than 7 years data, you need to delete that. That is and you talk, right? GDPR and all in the US data, it's related to PII and all. So there is like a certain set of rules each and every country is having, and you need to follow. If you're dealing with that data, you need to follow those rules, and you need to get aligned to that policies. So data governance is a guardrail that needs to be there based on the current data volume we're handling, current number of data sources we have, the data volume we are processing, the way we are storing. We are talking about huge amount of data that we are processing and storing in our, and then the privacy and security is also one of the important concerns, right? Like if you have huge amount of data, it's so not like you will provide access to everyone in the organization, right? There are some important set of data that only few people should have access, right? So all these things comes like maybe data quality, master data management, data privacy, data security, data cataloging, data classifications, lineage. I'll explain like what is lineage, but like all these things comes under data governance. And data governance is not data governance is like whatever you do, right? To make sure your data is reliable, data is secure, data privacy is maintained, and data is business usable form, right? Whatever data you have in the final layer, that is in the business usable form. If you make sure all of these things are happening, then you are having a proper data governance. But again, it is not going to happen automatically. You need to set some guardrails, some rules. You need to build some policy. You need to build some process, right? So combining all of these things, you can say the people, process, and technology, whatever you are going to use to make sure your data is secure, data is is like properly maintained. You have a proper data quality. You have a proper master data available. Then you can say you are following a proper data governance. Again, like there are multiple ways to implement data governance, right? Multiple ways as in like means some of the people are mainly interested in the technical side of it, but like there is no point of just doing building a catalog and building data quality checks. You need to have make sure that your business folks are also getting exposure to what you are doing, because that is the sole purpose of any business, right? Business. So you need to also maintain business glossary. You need to associate all your technical data with business data so that business can also see a view, right? Like what is happening, how your data is performing, right? What is the data quality of this application, that application? So you need to produce an entire score of the data for each and every application that you have as part of your organization. Maybe in CDGC, we can build some dashboard for each and every application and provide access to the respective set of people that who are the owner, data stewards, and all for that application. So data quality, I hope with the term itself, you are very clear what is data quality. So you know every organization is now facing problem with data quality. Who if it is a bank, insurance company, retail company, real estate company, I have worked with all of this and I have seen that like business people are raising concern with data quality. So data quality is an important or low hanging fruit as part of data governance that we always start first so that we can add some value. Because nowadays, if you start any project, people wanted to see the real value at the beginning itself. That okay, you're saying that you are going to implement data governance or build data governance platform. What is the result of it? Like you are doing this from last 3 months. What is the result of it, right? People definitely going to ask because people want quick result in the current world. So this is one important low hanging fruit that we can consider for this, and we can always show some value like using this. Data lineage. Data lineage, as you understand, right? The different sources we are consuming data from. The data is flowing through multiple layers within the organization, maybe from OLTP system to operational data store, operational data store to data lake to many other downstream system. And then we are building some data products like bronze, silver, gold, and layer and all. And then we are doing some business reporting out of that data. Now let's say one of the source, right? One of the source from where you are consuming data, they wanted to change one of the column, right? Data length of one of the column. It's a third party data that you are receiving. Other organizations are also receiving the data from that from the third party. Now there is a field called, let's say, some account number, right? That is the column they have. And that account number was earlier 10 character, but now they wanted to make it 20 character because of like some dependency. So if you are aware that like it's changing, right? And you know, right, where exactly you need to make those changes in order to capture the same data the same way you were getting earlier. So you will make those changes. But let's say if you are not even aware that like how this data is flowing or this column is going till what layer, till which all application. So Lineage will help if you are building proper data lineage for all your important data or critical data elements or maybe important business term or important like fields, right? Every departments, every application has got maybe 100 to 200 set of key data elements. If you know that, you are going to manage it very well, right? Because these are your critical data elements and that's adding value to business. Now, you need to understand how this data is acquired, how it is processed, which all layer it is going, which all application as a downstream consuming this data, which all reports this data is flowing into. So for that one, you need to build data catalog. And once the data catalog is there as part of a data platform, then you can build this lineage and you will be able to see the pictorial value of like how this particular column is flowing to which all departments and to which all systems and like to which all reports. So it will give you a clear picture. So I don't have currently like a lineage diagram, otherwise maybe I'll show that in the future classes, right? How this data lineage diagram looks. So you can see that. Now catalog and discovery. Catalog is like a building for, let's say you have a 5 department as part of your organization and you wanted to catalog all the metadata assets, right? Like what all the table structure, maybe you have or SQL Server, Oracle, and then you are processing data using Informatica. Then you can build that Informatica as a metadata asset as part of your catalog. What is the purpose of this? Because people should know like what all different types of tools and technology you're using as part of that department. And this will also help building the lineage. Let's say you have SQL Server source, you are using Informatica Power Center to process the data, and the target is going to be your maybe Snowflake. Okay, so in that case, you need to create a catalog for SQL Server, you need to create a catalog for Informatica Power Center, you need to create a catalog for Snowflake. And Informatica CDGC is providing connection, right? Like they have an inbuilt connector that can connect to all of these tools and technology and can bring the metadata. So once the metadata is available within your data governance platform, right, then you can enrich that data by adding some business context to it, by adding some business terms, business glossary, domain, subdomain, because you are going to divide all your data assets within the organizations in different domains, like what are the different domains you have, subdomains you have, and in each of these subdomain you can have associated business terms and business metrics and KPIs. So you can enrich the technical metadata, you can build the lineage on top of it. So, and 250 plus connectors are currently available in Informatica, and that's a huge, right? When it comes to other data governance tools, right? I have never seen that we have this much connectors, out of the box connector available. Access control, like how you are going to provide access to all your important data set or even a generic data set, right? So in the current world, right, we talk about very restricted data access policy, right? We do not want to just expose our data, but whatever data you have as part of your organization, you are not going to expose it like publicly to anyone. You need to make sure that you are providing this access in the controlled manner so that only the right people are getting the right access of the data. Maybe you are going to maintain some PII information, some sensitive information. So all these are masked. All these things can be implemented using IDMC, CDGC, and there are other ways also. It's not that IDMC, CDGC, but in the background you need to work and like maybe mask this data by some other channel as well. But Informatica can also help that. Policy. Every organization has some policy. You need to make sure that like you are documenting all this policy in Informatica CDGC, and you also need to know like how many of the data assets, right, which you have as part of your organization are aligned to that policy, or maybe some of these are non-compliant in terms of the policy. So policy, I'll give you one example, right? GDPR is one policy. Now, what is GDPR? GDPR is talking about like some personal PII information, right? The personal information of a person, company, organization, right? Although you are storing that data for like maybe you are part of a bank, you are opening an account of one of the customer and you are getting like passport details, personal name, first name, last name, email ID, phone number. All these are personal information. With all this information, you can uniquely identify a person, who is that person, where he belongs, where he stays, and all these things, right? So you cannot expose this data ever in public. And you need to first understand, once you have a GDPR policy, where all this policy applies, right? Which all data set, maybe like you have 10 departments or 10 applications as part of your organization. While cataloging this data, you are going to make sure that like which all data set has got this kind of issue, maybe PII information, which all data are sensitive. You need to classify all those things so that you can take some appropriate action by providing access to this kind of data to anyone. Business glossary is like when we implement data governance, right, we try to identify first like whatever data we have, right, we try to identify these data into certain set of domain. Again, it's not you and me going to decide, like maybe the organization's label chief data officer, and then data owners, data stewards, like from each of this department will come and like they will decide how many data domains. Let's say I'll talk about a real estate company. So in case of real estate company, you can have a sales. Sales is one of the important data domain that you can have. There you are maintaining sales related data. Then second is customer. Customer, because like when you are in the retail business, right? You are having some customer, right? Some online customer that are purchasing data using your e-commerce portal, and then you have physical stores, well, right? The persons are visiting your physical stores and buying and selling, not selling, sorry, it's buying your products, right? So you need to maintain your customer information in such a way that it is like not exposed to outside world. So customer is one domain, sales is another domain. Similarly, you can come up with multiple other domains, right? Marketing can be another domain that you need to do some marketing, right? To sell, to grow your business and all. And then maybe finance is another domain. So related to finance, you will have whatever business term. Business term is nothing but business term is like all the important term which business folks are using as part of your organization while doing business, right? So although technically you are giving a different name to those attributes as part of your data sets, as part of your maybe databases and all, but business folks are like their terminology is little different. So you are going to create a link between what business folks are talking about and what you have, right? So they can relate, right? So if they wanted to understand like they are talking about XY thing. So what does that mean like technically when it comes to this platform? So this platform can do that linkage between the business context against technical metadata. Classification, as we have already discussed, right? So classification is you need to classify your data, means whether you have any sensitive information. So sensitivity is one thing, right? Like you can have a sensitivity level 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you can also decide highly sensitive. All these categories you can create your own, like in Informatica CDGC. Let's say you wanted to maintain all your data in 3 categories or maybe 4 categories. Highly confidential, restricted confidential, highly confidential, confidential, and public. These are the 4 categories you wanted to maintain across all your data. So you can create these 4 categories and you can while ingesting the technical metadata, you can apply those things, right? And this will show, like when you open the data governance platform, you go to a particular data set or application, it will show you how many sensitive informations are available as part of your system. Okay, so that way you have a clear picture, right? As when somebody is coming to your data governance platform, they have a clear picture that like what is the data quality of my entire system or maybe a particular application, whether we can find lineage, whether all the policies are aligned, access control, how we are doing, business glossary, how you are doing, how we are classifying data. So all these things needs to be done as part of data governance platform. And Informatica CDGC, I have done multiple implementation, maybe 2 to 3 using CDGC. So I am very confident that like we have done multiple use cases implementation using CDGC. So I don't see any challenges like implementing all of this using CDGC. Now, one last point I wanted to cover. So like when it comes to data governance, right? So we talk about different set of roles. So let's say in your organization, you have 5 departments like sales, marketing, or maybe customer accounts. So this area or this sales, application are headed by a particular set of a technical person and particular set of a business person. So we need to come up with a role, data steward role, who understand this data from the business point of view. And then we have another role called data owner. So for each of these departments, we are going to have one data owner, data steward. And the role of data steward is going to make sure that like he is doing everything to make sure data is reliable, data having proper quality, data is in the proper format so that it can be used by business, all privacy, access related stuff, right? It's a data steward who is going to drive this thing. Data owner understand technically things and he will be part of some of the approval like if required, and he will also guide like technically how we can ingest some of this data and all. But data owner is a technical, maybe a technical part of it, but data steward is like a little functional aspect of it. So these are the two important roles. Other than that, so each of the application are going to have 2 roles, and then we talk about chief data officer. So all these peoples are going to report to chief data officer, who is going to take the entire organization level business decision. What are the policies they are going to implement? What are the privacy rules we are going to have? How we are going to maintain, like what are the different business domain we are going to have to add business context to your technical data. So all these things will be decided at that level. And now we talk about a technical team who is going to implement this data governance platform, right? So we have data governance developer, data governance admin. So these are the 2 persons, right? Like maybe data quality developer is also required. So to maintain some data quality rules. And data governance developer and admin is going to help you make sure that like your access and everything are sorted. You are providing proper access to, and also in setting up those catalog and all, admin can help. Developer is like maybe business glossary and all, right? It's all manual work we do generally, like to try to collect from different departments. We are trying to collect all this business information, what are the business term they are using. So those persons or maybe data analyst kind of person who can like do all this upload onto the data governance platform so that we can have a business context to any technical metadata. So that's about data governance and how to implement that. In the next slide, I have like, is this IDMC architecture. Some of you who are already working on IDMC know the architecture, but this is specific to CDGC. That like how CDGC work when it comes to like Informatica Cloud, because this IDMC is a platform, and as part of that platform, they have multiple services. Multiple services in they have data integration service, they have application integration service, they have AI service like Clear. They have come up with a Clear, right? Clear engine. So that is a AI service. Using that, you can try to, let's say, if you wanted to understand what you did, you want to write a pure English, right? Like what is data quality score of my this system, right? It can fetch that information from your data governance platform and provide the details. And then, so yeah, these are the different data marketplace, data governance and catalog. So these are the services you get as part of data governance platform. But the architecture is this, how this works. So some of you already know like how it is working. So we need to install a we need to install a secure agent like to make it work. So you need to first buy a license from Informatica, and then you need to install a secure agent on one of your server. You can have multiple secure agent installed. Using that, you are making sure that your data is not going beyond a firewall boundary of your organization. So on the Informatica cloud, you are going to store all the metadata asset, but when it comes to data processing and all right, it's all happening within your firewall boundary. So, and then we were talking about this like the data governance roles and responsibility. What are the different types of role we can have? So this is on that. So I'm good for now. Like maybe if you guys have any specific questions specific to like maybe what you are currently doing, whether this role or this program is going to help you or not, we can talk about it. So I'm open for questions now, maybe for another 5 minutes.
Yeah, Raj. So here is required any Python, Unix, anything is required?
So Raghu, like as part of in while implementing data governance, right, using CDGC, so Unix is Unix sometimes required, Raghu, because the secure agent, right? Secure agent is the compute, right? So whatever compute you are going to provide, so the compute you need to provide your own. Maybe your organizations are going to have like maybe earlier we used to have Informatica server, okay, where we used to install Informatica on-premise softwares, right, on the
Yes.
server. Similar to that, now it's like a secure agent. You need to install your secure agent where all your files and maybe let's say files and then like all the logs, maybe data quality and profile result, everything will be stored there. So maybe basic, again, you don't need to become expert of Unix, but if you know, right, how to go to a particular directory, how to search
Okay.
files and all those things, that will help. Python, basically, I'll say it's not required because data quality, MDM, data integration, everything can be done within Informatica. If you know a basic of Informatica, right, a CDI and all, it's very easy to pick this up. Data quality and data governance part. You don't need Python.
Okay. So you cover EDC action also?
No, so Raghu, as part of this, EDC and Axons are the on-premise tools of Informatica to implement data governance. So as part of this program, we are mainly focusing on CDGC. Although like I have worked on EDGC earlier, and I can provide maybe some questions if you have any specific questions and all, we can answer that. But like as part of this program, the focus is only CDGC. CDGC is the cloud version of that EDC and Axon. It's a combined. Like earlier we used to have EDC and Axon. Now we have a single CDGC service, right? It's a cloud data. So again, when it comes to Informatica, there are two services we need to use, like to implement data governance. One is metadata command center. So that is a kind of admin for all the admin work, right? You need to onboard some catalog from various applications, right? For that purpose, you have MCC, and CDGC is another service where you upload business glossary and you see the results, right? You can search something and all. So that is available in CDGC.
Any AI agent? So you cover any AI agent?
Sorry,
AI agent.
AI agent.
Yes.
So again, like when it again the purpose here is to talk about data governance and implementation of data governance using. Again, we have, as I said, right, we have one service of Informatica called Clear. So
Yes.
Clear is using a particular model. We can talk about it, how it works and all, but we are not going to talk about like how to build the agents and all that as part of this program. It's a totally different. Maybe it's altogether going to be a different program. I mean, like we don't need here. Whatever we are doing and whatever agentic model we have, right, provided by Informatica, we can talk about that and we how to use and how to implement that. But we are not covering building agents and all here.
Okay.